All right, so lastly, we're going to take a look at the tentative class schedule. In the asterisk up at the top here, I show all work is due on the due date shown by 11:59 p.m. There will be no late work accepted. So in the table here, what I have on the left-hand side, the first column are the weeks of the semester, with the exception there in the middle of spring break, of course, and then the 16th week is finals week. I have the column for the units. I have it split up by units just so we can see where the different exams are. Then the topics covered, which is what I've been calling the subunit topics. And then the last column is the date due, or the due date. So if we look at our first week here, we're doing the general course information for the first week. And the due date for the assignments in this section is Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And that is January 17th for this semester. So every single one of these due dates here, the January 17th, January 24th, etc., are all Sundays, with the exception of the very last one. And I made a note down there that May 7th is our last day of the semester, which is a Friday, which is why that week is a shorter week, but all you have to do that week is the exam, so exam 5, and the end of the semester quiz you can see at the bottom there. So each week, if we go back up to the top, you can see in week number 2, we start unit 1. So next week is Intro to the Human Body. And then all of the assignments are going to be due on January 24th. So that's going to be your lecture video assignments. It's going to be your homework assignment. That's going to be your lab assignment. And that's going to be your quiz. So all of those assignments are going to be due for the Intro to the Human Body by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And every single week it'll be Sunday, of course, with that last one being the exception. So then the next week, of course, it'll be the chemistry section subunit, and then all of those same assignments, but they'll be due January 31st, which is the Sunday, by 11:59 p.m. Then when we get to week 4, we have the cells subunit and exam 1. So when it says and an exam, that means that not only do you have to complete all of those assignments for the subunit topic, so in this case is the cells topic, by February 7th, which is that Sunday at 11:59 p.m., you also have to complete that exam before that Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So please make sure that you allocate enough time throughout that week to complete the homework assignment and the lecture video assignment, the lab assignment, and the quiz assignment for that subunit section, in this example cells, as well as completing the exam. And remember that you need to have the lockdown browser and lockdown monitor all set up for the exam. So this first week when you're doing the syllabus quiz, that should get you all set up using the lockdown browser, and then you'll be ready for it for exam 1, and then moving down to exam 2, exam 3, 4, 5. So if you do note, I'm not going to go through every single week of these, but I do put in there, for example, on week 5, I have the integumentary system, and underneath there I recommend starting the skeletal system this week. And the reason that I have that on there is because the integumentary system is a pretty short system, and with the spacing and the amount of weeks that we had throughout the semester, I really needed to figure out a way to fit everything in, but some of the systems are a little bit shorter. So I do suggest, because the skeletal system is longer and takes a lot more work than the integumentary system, that you start the skeletal system that week. And then the next one after that is the skeletal system, but then I also say I recommend starting the muscular system that week. So again, these systems, the integumentary system, the entire unit is due by February 14th, and then the skeletal system isn't due until this February 21st. I'm just saying I recommend that you take some time on that, because the skeletal system is pretty big, the muscular system is pretty big, and then down here I do the same thing because the cardiovascular system is very, very big. There's a lot that goes into the cardiovascular system section. So the endocrine system is probably the shortest one we have. So that's why I say I highly recommend starting the cardiovascular system this week, so that you can ensure that you will get it done and not be cramming at the last minute, especially because the cardiovascular system week also has exam 3. So really what I would do in a typical classroom setting is we would address the endocrine system at the very beginning of the week, and we really would go into the cardiovascular system halfway through that week and take an entire week and a half on the cardiovascular system. So those are recommendations, but they're only recommendations because I don't reflect that in the actual due dates. So keep in mind that the way the class is set up is that as soon as you submit all of the assignments for one subunit, the next subunit section will open for you. So that's how you can start the skeletal system, for example, is by completing the integumentary system early and then getting into the skeletal system. Likewise with the other ones. So then there on out, we have our different systems for the weeks. And then I already mentioned on week 16, we have our finals week, which does not include any of the systems, but you need to complete exam 5 and the end of the semester quiz. Exam 5 requires the Respondus lockdown browser, and the semester quiz does not. It's like any quiz throughout the rest of the semester, with the exception of it covering the entire semester. Do please make a note now that final week is a short week. Since the semester ends on a Friday, and I have to get grades in over the weekend, it's required that the semester end on that Friday. That's why it's not a Sunday. So please do keep that in mind when you're planning when you're going to take the exam and complete the end of semester quiz.